Hi, you guys. Thank you so much for taking some time. We are so excited to chat with you, and we are so excited about this holiday special. To kick things off, let's get into it. Tell us what we can expect. Sam and I are big drag race and just drag queen fans in general, so we kind of know. But maybe for the layman, walk us through what this holiday special is going to take us through.
Yeah, well, for those of us, or for those out there who are familiar with us, or think they're familiar with us, I think they're going to be more than satisfied with getting all of the glitz and glamour and comedy and music that they expect, all the fabulous visuals. But also, I think people are going to learn a lot about just how weird, wacky, wild, and introspective and heartwarming we are as performers and writers. And for those who have no idea what they're walking into, this is it's as I said, glitzy and glamorous, and it's full of all sorts of exciting music, original songs, full dance company, puppets, all sorts of holiday tropes subverted and turned on their head. You've got all the classic traditions, as well as all of the classic dick jokes that you expect from Jinkx Monsoon.
From any holiday movie.
Yeah. Well, we are building off of, many drag created and drag centric films before us. And there are a lot of queens who have done really outstanding work before there was a TV show dedicated to drag. So I think we found a way to create something new and to create something very specific to us as artists, while also giving a nod to the queens who paved the way for drag-centric film before us. I've always said when we make a film, I want it to be a good film that happens to star drag queens, not a film that is only good if you are a fan of drag. So I think anyone, if you're a fan of comedy, if you're a fan of good writing, if you're a fan of showmanship, and even if you're just a fan of full frontal nudity, we've got you covered.
And who isn't, Jinkx?
Yeah, who isn't a fan of full frontal nudity? You're looking at two of the biggest fans of full frontal right here.
Right here.
Girls, I'm wondering what we are going to be most surprised about in watching this movie. You mentioned some introspective moments, which I was excited to hear about. Can you tell us a little bit more about what, drag novices and drag experts might not expect to see?
I think what you'll be surprised by is just how much heart and meaning there is buried under the dick jokes and the zaniness. As we're both really committed artists, first and foremost. We're committed to being effective live performers. We're committed to writing stuff that we believe in and wish to share with the world, but we choose to do it through drag. And I think my choice for doing it through drag is it gives me a lot more freedom. I feel like I'm able to hit a lot more levels than when I'm just, Jarek Hoffer in a play. And a big thing is creating the work ourselves. One of my favorite things about working with DeLa is we don't sit around and wait for a movie to star two drag queens with a holiday message. We decided to create it ourselves. And so I think what people will be surprised by is that for every dick joke, there is also a moment of earnest, heartfelt truth.
Sure.
Yeah, we really strived to take the classic TV Christmas special that sort of, those of you super gays out there will be very familiar with the Judy Garland Christmas special. It's sort of everything followed that formula since, where, you're invited into somebody's soundstage home and they, spend the evening with you. So we really, did a nod to that. That's a film about about Jinkx and DeLa attempting to do that, but not being able to agree upon it, about how it should happen because of their own separate ideas about what Christmas is and should be. And so really at the end of it, I think people will be delighted that it really is a fully formed, well-told story that has these fun elements of variety, but is really a story about how we can overcome our assumptions about ourselves and each other and figure out how to make tradition and the holidays our own at a time that can be difficult for queer people who don't see themselves represented a lot of the time in the messaging of the season.
Sure, and especially this year, it's going to be such a crazy year. I think this is coming just the right time for so many people from so many different walks of life. You know, you guys talk about putting this thing together yourselves, and you know, DeLa, not only are you starring in this thing, you're producing and you're directing, which in my culture we call a triple threat. And
in my culture, we call it ill-advised. But,
I mean, walk me through it. I mean, how much work was that? And I know you guys filmed this, you know, under strict restrictions in the pandemic. I mean, it sounds like so much work.
Yeah, I mean, it was definitely an undertaking. You know, not only was it our first time, you know, conceptualizing and writing a film, but, you know, obviously also, as you said, my first time directing and producing, which I've been doing in theater, but this is such its own beast. And then also just under this, you know, because of COVID, this was something that we had to decide to do in June when it became clear that we weren't going to do our tour. And that is not, you know, a recommendable time to, you know, amount of time to create a film within. So, so that combined with all the safety precautions we had to take and all the quarantining and, you know, all of that, it was a very ambitious endeavor that I'm very proud that we rose to. I think that, you know, even though we didn't have the benefit of time and certain other resources on our side, what we had that countered that was real passion for wanting to bring something to people this year that would bring some joy and some warmth in a really difficult year, but also would provide us with that through that experience. It allowed us to find some solace in this time. And everyone on the cast and crew, you know, just brought so much to elevating this thing, you know, from pre-production all the way through post. And I think there was something really, you know, that fueled everybody through how hard it was by how necessary it felt and how grateful people were to just be creating again.
Totally.
So I imagine you both, you know, had to do all the COVID testing and you were all very safe and it was all very serious. And my question is, when you got those COVID nose tests, do you kind of feel like they feel good a little bit?
Oh my God, thank you so much for saying so. Everyone thinks it's crazy.
Wait, really?
I enjoy getting my brain poked. I'm just gonna put it out there. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's just like it's like getting the plaque off your frontal lobes. It's like, you know, like
the brainworms, getting the brainworms out.
So clean, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
That is, no, go ahead, Jinkx. Sorry.
No, you go ahead.
Well, no, this is the first I've heard of this. The only COVID tests I've had were the mouth swabs that you sort of do by yourself, and it's very easy. But everybody who I've spoken to who has done the nose one has had nightmares and like won't stop talking about it.
Your eye socket. It's wild.
It was difficult the first time, like so many things in life.
Yeah, once you relax into it, it really makes it pleasurable.
But while we're talking about it, I think it's worth noting that, you know, we were not cavalier in any way about doing this film at this time. You know, it's one of those things where it's like we had to kind of find the balance between, well, we still have to create art, but we can't shirk off the responsibility of keeping everyone healthy and safe. So even though at the end of the day we were like, we need to get this film filmed, health and safety was actually the top priority through everything. That meant isolated quarantine, you know, like we solo quarantined first. Then we created a safety bubble where everyone who was working on the film was quarantining throughout the production, getting multiple tests and screening. Everyone was wearing masks and PPE throughout the production. The only time we had our masks off were when we were on set.
Mm-hmm.
And We had health and safety COVID czar, Montana, who Meredith. Sorry,
Montana's our production designer.
Yes, sorry, there were two names, and I do that a lot. I swap things around. Meredith walked through the set like 80 times a day just to hose us down with sanitizer.
Wow.
Break up huddles that were unnecessary. And so we really it was difficult.
She was like a nun with a ruler at a school dance.
Right.
But it also made it that much more significant to rise to the challenge, to keep everyone healthy and safe throughout a process that's difficult, even if it weren't in the middle of a pandemic. And we can happily say that no one on our cast or crew contracted COVID throughout the production process. Everyone was healthy and safe. And if anyone had contracted it, we probably would have just said, never mind, we didn't make a movie.
Right.
We didn't breathe a word of this film to anybody until we filming, because we were like, if anyone for any reason winds up, testing positive or whatever, then we just have to shut down production immediately. So it was really, we're so fortunate that everyone took it so seriously.
Yeah, because we wouldn't want to encourage anyone to do the same unless they could take the same amount of precautions that we took.
Exactly.
We don't want to give the message that hey, it's a pandemic, but you should still make movies. You should only make movies if you have the ability to make them safely and responsibly at this time.
Yeah, amen. Well, yeah, that's very commendable. I'm very happy to hear that. And I'm thrilled you guys pulled it off. If I can deviate from the special for 1 second, Sam and I had the pleasure of watching a little movie, another little holiday movie called Happiest Season, which before I started watching, I had no idea that you two were in.
Oh.
Color me shocked. What a surprise. How did that come about?
Well, we have been friends with Clea Duvall for quite some time now. Peaches Christ first introduced us to Clea years ago when we did our Death Becomes Her parody, Drag Becomes Her. And Clea's been a very kind and generous and wonderful friend to me throughout the years. I've gotten to spend a little bit more time with Clea than DeLa has. And one night at dinner, Clea...
Jinkx means that she just actively kept us apart for many years.
Right.
Like a couple years ago, I went to dinner with Clea and her wife, Mia, because lesbians have to have rhyming names, apparently.
That's the law.
Yeah.
So I'm at dinner with Clea and Mia, and Clea says she is creating a film. She's writing and directing a film, and that she had a role in mind for DeLa and I. And it was one of those things where it's like, okay, I'll believe it when I see it, because you don't know if someone's just being kind. But no, Clea delivered, and she's just such a wonderful person to work with. And she wrote these parts for us into the film. And none of us knew when we went and filmed Happiest Season that we would also be filming our own holiday film. So now we're just branding ourselves as, the queens you go to for holiday entertainment.
And, Clea's also been so incredibly just supportive and generous in terms of, the way that she's incorporated us into sort of the family of this film. And, we were just at the premiere the other night, a socially distanced drive-in premiere, and it's just, she and the whole cast were just so welcoming and wonderful to work with. But, also she's been so supportive of, letting people know that, she was inspired because she comes to our holiday shows every year, and it's one of her traditions. And she's, now that we've created this new film, she's been so supportive about, helping to get the word out about that. And, that kind of generosity in an artist is incredibly admirable.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's really special when, I think, the admirable people within our community are really happy to share success with other members of the community. Mm-hmm. And it's, it's from Clea's generosity that we were a part of her film, and we try to pay it forward by
casting her in our film.
I think we try to pay it forward by
equal.
We try to involve as many people as possible that we've worked with since well before we had commercial success. You know,
Yeah.
we worked with my music partner Major Scales on this film. We shot it in Seattle, so we were able to include a lot of members of our community that we've been working with for over a decade, not only as cast members but also as crew members. I think when DeLa first involved me in one of her Christmas productions like 10 years ago, her mission statement was to create the feeling of being at home with your family for those people who don't have the opportunity or desire to spend the holidays with their blood family. So let's create a chosen family to spend the holidays with. And that's what I feel most proud of with this film is even though we did it in a completely different way this year, I think we still upheld the idea of creating a familial space for queer people during a time of year where queer people are excluded or just forgotten about.
Absolutely, for sure. Well, as we talk about the holidays here, I'm curious, do either of you girls have any fun, cute, campy, chic, and queer holiday traditions that we could hear about?
Well, you know, I mean, I have spent Christmas on stage for the past 14 years. This is actually the first year I won't be on stage for Christmas. So, I mean, that really is this film is kind of me finding the way to uphold how I've spent the holidays. But I don't know. I mean, I always like that turkey ham.
Wait, what? Turkey ham?
A cold, smoked turkey that has been treated like a ham.
Treated like all its life, it was treated like a ham.
Oh, okay.
It's like a spiral smoked turkey that tastes like ham, and we call it a turkey who identifies as ham. Ham her.
There we go.
And I don't know.
It's delicious.
I believe you. I'll take your word.
I haven't prescribed to organized religion or any organized religious holidays since my adulthood. So I think practicing aspects of paganism and witchcraft at the holidays is just inherently queer. So
sacrificing a turkey ham, maybe.
So I always get it. I bring a turkey ham to the party. Jinkx brings a live goat, and
we sort of just summon a demon, and that's what it is. It's really cute.
Man, post-COVID, I need to get an invite to this thing. That sounds way more fun than my family holiday parties. There's no goats. Oh, man.
That's on you, Dan. That is on you.
You know what? I will have to talk to my mom about the lack of goats. Ladies, congratulations on this. It is such a feat during these times, and it's going to bring people so much joy this holiday season. So Sam and I both commend you for all of your hard work, and I'm so excited for people to see it. Thank you so much for taking the time today.
Thank you.